Do you want to have perfect blood results every time? I do, and I have for the last decade or so. I'm going to show you how. Hi, my name is Opie. I talk about health, wealth, and happiness. So in this video, I wanted to show you how to make the morning smoothie that I rave on about every morning. And this is how I do it. I know I've talked about it, but I'm actually going to show you how I do it every morning. Most mornings. Sometimes I have overnight oats, sometimes I have granola, sometimes I have porridge. But majority of the time, it's my smoothie. The reason why I have my smoothie every morning is because I want to make sure that I get Dr. Gregor's Daily Dozen in. So, if you've seen that episode, there's a guy called Dr. Gregor, does a bunch of research, found out what foods we should be eating on a daily basis, and ended up writing a checklist of 12 items that we should be eating on a day-to-day basis, plus number 13 and 14 as well. And what I do to cheat the system is to chuck as many of those ingredients into a smoothie, blend it up in the morning, I whack it down, and then I'm done. Done in terms of I at least feel good that I have taken all of my nutrients in, or most of my nutrients in for the day, and then whatever happens day afterwards for lunch and dinner and the snacks is a bonus. So this is it. Let's get started, right? But before I do, there is a product that you need to buy in terms of a blender if you don't already have a blender. So let me walk you through my set of blenders that has evolved over time. So 10 years ago or so, I ended up starting with this one. This is the NutriBullet, very famous, very reliable, and it's very powerful. But the cups are small, very noisy, therefore I ended up upgrading, but I still use this today to blend my flax seeds, and I'll get to the flax seeds in a bit, because flax seeds you can't have it whole, you need to grind it up. So I end up putting the flax seeds and the chai seeds in here, grind it up, and if I need to do any spices, I end up using this. So that's why it's sort of discolored, because it's still got the stains from the flax seeds, but I still use this today just for the grinding. Second option, so if you're a single person, this might do it, because this glass, especially if you're a woman, you should be able to get away with one of these. Okay? If you're a couple, you might possibly need this. So like a guy should be able to handle this, maybe 3/4 of it. So this is 4 cups, 32 ounces in this. And you basically take the bottom off, put it in here, and this is also a NutriBullet as well, right? The price is slightly higher. I'll leave all the links in the comments section, but that's a good starting point. If you can afford it, I would recommend going for the big boy, the Ninja. The reason being, it's a lot more powerful. They've got the 20 ounce or the 600 ml glass as well. Sorry, it's not glass, it's a cup. But the problem is, again, it's good for if you're a woman, this is enough. But if you're a guy, I know this isn't enough for me. I need probably maybe 1.5 or 2 times 2 of these to sort of fill me up, make me feel full. That's where this big boy comes in. So this actually is, 190 milliliters or 1.9 mils. I don't know how much it is in terms of ounces. Ounces is 64 ounces, 8 cups. So this is actually good enough for 4 people. There's enough here for 4 people, usually 3 or 4 people, depending on how much you drink. But as I said, if you can afford it, go for the big boy, get it on done with. And if you're serious about your nutrition, it really does make a difference. There's another brand that's very popular called Vitamix as well. That's like very high up in terms of robustness. I personally haven't tried it. The reviews are great on it. So if you wanted to go down that path, that's fine. But just for everyday people like you and me, this really does do the good job. If you can't afford this, which is 200-300 Aussie dollars, you can go for the NutriBullet, and it works just the same. I would stay clear of the no-name brands, the cheap brands. The reason being, if you're going to be using it like almost on a daily basis. You want something reliable. You want something that's got a reliable motor, that's able to just sort of crust everything up. And these are tried and tested. I mean, it's it's funny that these are sold on infomercials, but they are actually quite good. So that's enough of this. But let me go through the ingredients now, right? Let me put these away. Let's go through the ingredients. All right, let's get back into it. First ingredient, right? First ingredient, the base ingredient. What's more important, the most important thing are your greens. Believe it or not, these are the leaves from a cauliflower that I bought the other day, and obviously we use the cauliflower. Then I'm peeling the cauliflower, the leaves, and I'm going, why am I throwing these away? I just chuck them into the smoothie. And you're probably thinking, geez, that's disgusting, OP. I can't believe you do that. So here's what I want you to consider. Think of this meal as a sustenance for your body. It will taste good, but don't worry about the taste. Just be a man, be a woman, put everything in there and scale it down. Just think about, okay, this is nourishing my body. This is good for my body. And that's the mindset that you should have. Which is why, there's nothing wrong with these leaves. And these were going to go straight into the bin. So what I ended up doing is I ended up washing these, putting them in the freezer, and they're amazing. They're probably, they break really nicely. But in terms of greens, you can put any greens as you want. But what I want you to do is each day mix them up, rotate them. They did a study a while ago, and out of all the greens that they studied, one of them came out on top in terms of antioxidants and a whole lot of other benefits. Guess which one it was? Come on, think about it. Believe it or not, it was spinach. Spinach is super healthy for you, but you shouldn't be having it every day. Mix it up. So there's all these other options, right? This is a side note, but I ended up writing a lengthy blog post on this very recipe, on what should go into this smoothie. And these are just printouts from that. So in terms of leafy greens, you've got the option of, obviously I've mentioned spinach, silver beet, which is like Swiss chard, gotukola, which is like a Sri Lankan Asian leafy thing. What else is there? There's rocket, which is a bit bitter, but try and tough it out. Any greens that you can think of, put them in there because they're so good for you, but mix and match. In terms of quantities, I don't want to go through the quantities in here. I'll refer to the blog post, but roughly around 50 to 100 grams of leafy greens. So that's your base. That's what you're trying to do, because it's a green smoothie. Admittedly, it's not going to look green because as soon as you start putting the berries in, it changes the color. But what you want as a base is the greens. Okay. Next is the berries. Okay. The berries, I usually go for frozen. It's just easier, predictable. They're always in my freezer. So I try and buy organic most of the time. But I'm talking about blueberries, raspberries, strawberries, blackberries, any sort of berries. If they're a mix, put them in there. I mean, these are blueberries separately, but doesn't really matter. Okay. Put the berries in there. Again, in terms of quantity, I've got the quantities in the thing, but let me have a look. I think it's about 50 grams each. So if you're putting frozen blueberries in, 50 grams of that, raspberries, 50 grams of that. So these are high, it's going to be a large smoothie. Let's get that out of the way. Now, to supplement that, I always end up putting an orange in there. So I end up peeling the orange, cutting it down, taking away the seeds as much as I can, and putting a whole orange in there. The next one is other fruits that you've got lying around. So whatever you've got in terms of apples, kiwi fruit, peaches, plums, nectarines, put them in there. One of them, however much you feel is enough for you. What I would avoid is putting bananas. Bananas there was a study done that's saying if you put bananas in your smoothie, the nutrition value of all the other ingredients reduced by 30% because the bananas have these enzymes. I haven't been able to validate that, but it's not a biggie for me anyway because I don't put bananas in. If you want to, you can, but I would try and avoid it and have the bananas separately. Have it as a snack in the afternoon. So in terms of all the fruits that you can put, avoid putting bananas in there. Let's get on to the next one. Let's keep going, right? So in terms of now we've got sort of the greens in there as well. Often when at night we end up having broccoli for dinner. And guess what I do with the stem? Right? I keep the stem in the fridge or freezer and give it a quick boil in the morning, and I end up chucking it in the smoothie. And again, you're gonna think, oh my God, that's disgusting. Again, I really want you to go back to the value of nourishing your body. Forget the taste. Otherwise, it would have just gone onto the compost bin or the bin, right? What a waste. So use that. I'll keep going. What else do we put in there? So in terms of nuts, if you had to pick one nut that was the best and healthy for you, it would be the walnuts. Walnuts. Okay. One or two of walnuts. I've already covered chia seeds. Okay. Chia seeds is great. As a staple, I would go for in terms of nuts and so forth. If you don't have anything around, the one that you have to put in is the flax seeds. This is the grounded flax seeds that I told you about before. They say that if you could make one dietary change, just one dietary change, that would be to include grounded flax seeds in your diet every day. And that's about a tablespoonful that you should be aiming because it helps with weight loss, reducing blood pressure, and a whole lot of other benefits. Okay, so if you can incorporate that, amazing. So we've got the flax seeds. The reason why walnuts and flax seeds are important is they did a research a while ago, and they looked at all the vegans and the vegetarians and people who are on a plant-based diet, and the risk of them having any sort of heart disease, cancers, and I think that was it. And the other chronic diseases like diabetes were next to nothing. They were completely fine up until the age of 80s and 90s, no issues. Some of them did have issues with Alzheimer's and Parkinson's sort of diseases, and they worked out why. And that was because the omega-3 levels were lower in them. So to offset that, this is the easiest and simple way. I mean, you can get algae extract as well. If you wanted to put in there, put that. But these will cover that gap, if you will, with no issues. Again, I end up putting other stuff in them as well, like cranberries, goji berries is very amazing. And most recently, say in the last couple of years, I have been putting wheat germ in there. So this came out of Dr. Gregor's book on how not to age. And this is the most simplest and most affordable way to get to increase your longevity. I'm not going to go into the science because I don't know it well enough to explain it to you, but something about lignans and them expanding, and this is one of the ingredients that you can use to do that. Again, there's more stuff like lychee and stuff. Have I missed anything? I'm going through here. So in terms of, so that's it. That's it. You chuck everything in there and blend it. But in terms of obviously you need some liquid. My go-to liquid is water, but these days I have been supplementing it with some pomegranate juice as well. Okay, try not to go full on with the juices because what you want is the pulp content because you want the fiber. But I've been going for the pomegranate juice because it helps with joints, and when I go to the gym, it helps with the strengthen joints. But you can put sort of any juices. Orange juice is a popular one, but then if you're going to put an orange in your smoothie anyway, it's not an issue. But any other kind of juice, put them in there, whack it up, and again, I'll share a photo of all the smoothies that I've made over the past couple of years, just not all of them, some of them. That way you get to see of what the end product looked like. But yeah, put them in there, grind it up. I'm not going to make it now because this video is going to be super long, but that's it. And I think that covers a large chunk of Dr. Gregor's Daily Dozen. What's missing, I suppose, is the spices, vitamin B12, which is in the pantry there, but that's just a daily dose, and mushrooms as well. I hope that helps you. Print this out. I'll leave a link to this or another PDF like this. That way you can sort of go through and do a checklist. And, it's got stuff like, as I said, cruciferous vegetables, which is like stuff like broccoli, cauliflower, kale's in there as well. So we end up putting it in some of these anyway. I end up putting celery as well. Celery is in the fridge, but it's a bit wilted at the moment, which is why I didn't bring it out. But I often put some celery. The idea is to mix it up every day, as many as you can. The staples that remain consistent throughout the smoothie are the walnuts, the flax seeds, the chia seeds, the goji berries, the wheat germ, and the berries. In terms of the greens and the other fruit, I try and mix it up. I do actually have the orange fairly consistently. One other ingredient that I didn't mention is amla. I don't know if you've heard of amla. It's also known as Indian gooseberries. There's different types of gooseberries, but apparently amla is very, very good for you. I used to put a tiny amount in my smoothie, but it would sort of irritate my gut a bit. See if it'll work for you because it's so good for you. I haven't been putting them in because, as I said, it sort of irritates my stomach a little bit. So I've left it out, but I do have to try and work out a way to incorporate this into the diet because of the health benefits are like next level, very similar to the wheat germ. All right, I think I've covered everything. So this is how you make a smoothie. Do it, ignore the taste, scull it in the morning. As I said, the benefit of this is you get, give it 3 to 6 months. 3 to 6 months, have your blood results done before starting this, have your blood results done after 3 to 6 months, and see if there's a change. If there are indicators that you need to tweak, check which foods that you need to be eating to supplement that, to take that. Because if you don't measure it, you don't know what your baseline is. So start by getting a detailed, comprehensive blood test done with your doctor. And then you've got a baseline, and then it's a matter of improving this. But as I said, because this is my little secret ingredient, it's not really a secret recipe. I'm just following this. I've had perfect bloods for the last decade or so, whereas all of my, not all, some of my peers are struggling with high blood pressure, cholesterol, hypertension, heart issues, diabetes, and a whole lot of things that come up when you're in your 40s. So to avoid that, I make sure I get my nutrition in. Thank you very much for listening. I'll see you in the next video. All the best. Bye.